love Honesty Island! And that's the truth. And of course, Family Island is amazing.
Inside Out provides one of the most unique outlooks on the human mind. No animated film has put such a refreshing spin on how someone's personality and personal motivations manifest. In Riley Anderson's case, she wouldn't be the same without her islands of personality. From a young age, she learned to value friendship, family, honesty, a goofy attitude, and her favorite sport, hockey. These 5 components came together to make Riley who she is and establish the core values that she lived by. In the first film, Riley can't function without her islands of personality up and running. Without Goofball Island, she can't partake in her favorite activities, like sliding down a stair railing. Without Honesty Island, she doesn't think twice about taking her mom's credit card to pay for her bus ride to Minnesota. These islands are so crucial that after losing them all, Riley falls into a depression that prevents her emotions from reaching her. We know from the first film that islands can grow or new ones can appear. In the epilogue scene, Riley has islands about boy bands and vampire romances, insinuating that these interests have become integral in her everyday life, just like hockey had. The recently released trailer for Inside Out 2 shows Riley on the cusp of her teenage years, meaning that her interests and personality will change over time. There's no doubt that the sequel will introduce new islands, and in today's video, we're discussing what they could be.
Goofball Island?
Riley's islands of personality, they're all down!
Number 1. Crush Island. The first film already alludes to Riley's interest in romance. When joy and sadness navigate her mind to return to headquarters, they encounter the imaginary boyfriend generator in Imagination Land. The generator creates the boy of Riley's dreams, who happens to be a cliché version of any male love interest in many young adult pieces of fiction. It's a subtle nod that although Riley isn't dating anyone during the film, she still notices many romantic tropes in media or real life, and that they influence her daydreams. A short for Inside Out named Riley's First Date also alludes to a potential romance during the sequel. The featurette reintroduces Jordan, the boy Riley meets in the first film's epilogue. He arrives at her house to meet their mutual friends and go skating. Naturally, Riley's parents panic, believing their daughter is going on her first date, and begin interrogating the pair, but Riley insists it isn't a date. Riley's parents approve of Jordan, watching from the door as he and Riley leave together. As he appeared in the epilogue of the first film and featured in a short, Jordan could be a reoccurring character in the sequel. Riley was likely honest, stating that she wasn't going on a date with Jordan, but her feelings for him could change over time. Jordan already appears to have a slight interest in Riley. As she moves into her teenage years, a core memory with Jordan could result in Crush Island, a place for all her romantic aspirations to grow as she moves into adulthood.
Okay. Bye.
Number 2. Special Interest Island. Riley already had a few distinct interests during the first film. She loves hockey, boy bands, vampire romances, science, and more. Many of her new interests earn themselves an island, but they don't develop after she's spent a year in San Francisco creating new core memories. As Riley ages and makes new friends, she will continue gaining more interest to occupy her time. In the epilogue scene from the first film, the emotions mention that some of the pre-existing islands have grown and changed. One of Riley's primary interests that shapes her everyday life and relationships is hockey. As one of her main motivations, it makes sense that the sport would receive its island from a young age. However, Riley's less goal-driven interests or side hobbies could become condensed into a single island, a place for all her free time activities to cultivate and grow. Boy bands and romantic vampires could each reside there, alongside potential new interests. Riley's dad reveals in Riley's First Date that he used to be in a band and loves AC/DC. Riley could come to share these same favorite bands. Riley also likes vampires, a trait that leads most teenagers to enjoy supernatural fantasy and fiction.
I play in a band. That's fun.
Wait! We were in a band.
Number 3. Passion Island. Passion is a strong word when talking about a 13-year-old, as being passionate about something typically means pursuing it with as much time, dedication, and energy as possible. However, as a teenager, Riley may start to realize what she wants to work towards in life, and she already seems to have a good contender. Riley has loved hockey from a young age. It's a sport that her parents shared a love for and introduced her to when she was just a toddler. Riley's passion for hockey shines through the film time and time again. The first thing Riley wants people to know about her is her history with the sport. When asked to tell the class about herself, Riley tells about her position on her previous hockey team, the Prairie Dogs. She also tells the class that she's used to spending every weekend skating at the lake. One of Riley's core memories is about causing her hockey team to lose a game, but her teammates come to comfort her. Riley has an island dedicated to hockey, so it's meaningful, and her parents know it. One of Mrs. Anderson's first goals in San Francisco is to find Riley a new team to try out for. Riley cares a lot about the sport. It may turn into something she chooses to pursue as a career. Hockey is one thing Riley remains passionate about throughout her whole life thus far. so it's more than a hobby or fleeting interest. A passion island could cater to everything Riley desires to pursue long term, be it a sport, her academics, or a passion not yet introduced in the franchise.
Yeah, it gets pretty cold. The lake freezes over, and that's when we play hockey. I'm on a great team. We're called the Prairie Dogs.
Number 4, Guilt Island. Most of Riley's islands from the first film have positive connotations. She's young and has few negative experiences until the move to San Francisco, making her a happy child with a heart of gold. However, the first film is about embracing parts of yourself that may not always be perfect and positive. Like how the other emotions finally allow sadness to do her part to help Riley. Riley doesn't respond to the move very well, and although the film does show her adjusting to her new life, during the epilogue, there could be residual thoughts and feelings that Riley hasn't coped with. After all, she destroys Honesty Island when she runs away from home, and her parents may become less trusting of her behavior or overprotective. A sequel to Inside Out would be the perfect time to bring up any feelings of guilt felt by Riley, now that some time has passed since the incident. Guilt Island could be many things. It could even tie into what Honesty Island represents. Riley must care about maintaining the moral high ground and being truthful with those around her, but that dedication to the truth could also cause her to feel guilty when she slips up. She could also feel guilt when she loses a hockey game, shouts at a friend, or takes a joke too far. Riley appears like someone who puts a lot of pressure on herself to be perfect, a fact reflected in the first film. So Guilt Island could be a place to help her process some of the negative emotions that result from her self-image.
I want my old friends and my hockey team.
Number 5, Insecurity Island. The first film explains how core memories power the islands of personality, but those core memories wouldn't exist without the emotions that formed them. Most of Riley's core memories reflect the joy that Riley felt in each moment. By the film's end, joy and the other emotions learn to form core memories alongside one another, allowing Riley's islands to diversify and grow. The Inside Out 2 trailer introduces anxiety as a new emotion, and she will likely help Riley create new core memories as she begins her teenage years. Anxiety can be complicated and challenging to live with, and it sometimes warps your perceptions of the world around you. Often, anxiety can make someone feel insecure, causing them to question friendships, behaviors, and social situations. If Riley begins developing core memories with anxiety at the helm of the control panel, she could develop Insecurity Island, where all her anxious fears may reside.
It's not as bad as that soup at that diner in Nebraska.
Oh yeah, the spoon stood up in the soup by itself.
The teenage years are some of the most profound years someone can experience. They're challenging and confusing, but they're also when people start defining who they are and discover new things about themselves, from their strengths to their weaknesses and how to grow with them. The islands on this list may not appear in the sequel, but as Riley gains new passions and emotions, the islands she already has may warp and change. Hockey could become something she wants to pursue as a career. Her perception of family could shift to include more than her mom and dad. And she may begin to lose some of her token joy, expressed through Goofball Island, because of the anxiety she now faces. Whatever the case, it's clear that these islands will change alongside Riley, helping her become the best version of herself.
And that's it. We love our girl. Oh, she's got great friends and a great house. Things couldn't be better.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
A new girl? Meg has a new friend already?
Hey, stay happy. We do not want to lose any more islands here, guys.